Good morning. So it is Friday and I decided I'm gonna do like a little weekend reading vlog. I've got a dish full of, a sink full of dishes. If I could talk, that would be great. So I slept in today because I don't have class on Friday. I do, however, have a few like little school things that I have to get done. So I need to do that. I also need to like shower and stuff, but I'm doing this little weekend reading vlog because I was gonna have a different vlog come up this month. And I've been working on it for like pretty much all month since the end of January, and I'm not finished with that yet. And I'm getting like really stressed out about it. So instead I'm just doing this. It'll be very light, very fun. And I figure I'm just gonna read a couple of books that I have on my TBR. Some on my TBR for this month, and then some just generally books that I want to read that are on Kindle Unlimited. So this is gonna be kind of like a Kindle Unlimited reading vlog. So the books that I have that are like actually on my Tinder, I just watched The Tinder Swindler, so I'm like still processing last night. That's what I did. But anyways, the books that are actually on my TBR for February, I have The Foxhole Court by Nora Sakovic, and then I did have Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris, but that was like the first book I read this month, so I'm not going to be doing that one. I also have a sequel to a book that is on Kindle Unlimited. The sequel is called The Killer Bridal Party, and it's the second book in the Firefly Junction Cozy Mystery series. So I'm debating whether I'm going to do that and like kind of cheat. But I also really want to read Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, and I know that is on Kindle Unlimited. I saw that movie in theaters whenever it came out years ago, but I never read the book, and it seems like something that I would enjoy to read about. So we're going to start with Foxhole Court and see how we're feeling after that. Full disclosure, I have started it. I'm like chapter 2, I think, or maybe chapter 3 now. It's like 20 pages, according to Goodreads. So that's where I'm at with that one. And essentially what Foxhole Court is about, what I can gather so far, is there's this boy whose name I'm not going to remember. And he's in high school and he's had to move around a lot. Something has happened to his mother and he's like afraid of his dad and like connections. So he's got enemies everywhere that he's trying to stay away from. And he plays a sport called Xe, which from what I can gather is kind of like lacrosse meets rugby, but it's mentioned to have like the aggression of like ice hockey, which again kind of seems like rugby. Like rugby is like football, but without pads, and different rules. So, I mean, it's not the same at all, but like that's what it reminds me of. So I think it's somehow like in that realm, like tackle field hockey maybe, I'm not sure. Our main character plays that sport at his high school. He's really good at it, and he's being scouted by colleges, but he ends up getting scouted by this college called Palmetto State. And Palmetto State has this thing where they scout people to be on their Xe team. And first of all, it's a 5-year thing, not a 4-year thing. So I don't know like what kind of degree that would be, or if it's just like a sports thing for after high school and it's not school. I don't really know. They have not talked about it. Also, something that I think is interesting is that they always take like foster kids and kids who are in the system and kids who just like have bad luck. It's like the coach's mission. So somebody that the main character knows from his past is a player at this school. So he doesn't want to go, but then he has to go. So he puts up a struggle for like half a second. And then one of the guys punches him and he's like, yeah, you know what? I will go with you. So to be honest, I don't get it right now. I'm barely into it. I'm hoping to enjoy it. Some people love this book, and then I've heard other people say it's their like least favorite thing they've ever read. So I'm curious to see which side I'm going to fall on. I have a feeling it's going to be like closer to the least favorite thing I've ever read, but I have been known to become like a little obsessed with a character and a storyline once I like it. So we'll see if I get there. But right now I'm just like trying to figure out what is going on. And something that really drives me crazy in books, and I think I've mentioned this before, I don't like it when I can't figure out the motivations for characters to do things. So I'm gonna need an explanation real quick to figure out like why this is actually happening, because I can't even like put 2 and 2 together right now and like kind of decide. So anyways, that is Foxhole Court. That is the first thing that's on the agenda for today, and I will check in with you when I have more of an update. But first I'm gonna like shower and get ready and stuff, and then I'm gonna do my schoolwork. Hi buddies. So I have a kind of short and sweet little update for you. I got about a quarter of the way into Foxhole Court. I really, I don't get it. The writing isn't very good, and also, the characters are aggressively mean to each other, to, the adults in their lives, the adults mean, their coach for the sport that they play. I don't understand, the appeal of this book at all, and I know it's, a bully romance, so I assume that it's kind of, hate to love, except for people, instead of just, disliking each other, are actively mean to each other, which I don't love. I also don't know who the romance is supposed to be with, because I thought it was supposed to be with Kevin, but Kevin doesn't seem to really care. Our main character's name is Neil, by the way, and there's this other character named Andrew, who is a twin. He's, an identical twin with someone else on the team. And for some reason, Andrew is, really aggressive and known to be, violent towards people. And he's already, pulled a knife on someone and done all sorts of, bonkers shit. And I just don't understand how you can have, okay, I'm not the sportiest person in the world, right? I didn't really play sports in high school. I managed my high school's basketball team for my PE credit. I don't know shit about sports, right? But I would think that especially with team sports, you do team building activities because you're supposed to trust each other and be able to talk to each other and communicate openly, and you have this bond with your team where you're supposed to. And I don't understand how anyone could trust any of the guys on this team, basically. So that's where I'm at with that one. I did, again, read a quarter of it. I wanted to read for 3 hours, and I wound up reading for an hour and then spending 2 hours watching TikToks until Matt came home. He has since left. I don't know if I mentioned this. He's going to Kansas City for the weekend, so he's not going to be here, which is why I decided that this would be the perfect time for me to film a reading vlog. The other thing that I wanted to say, I mentioned that I was going to try to read Annihilation during this vlog. However, the audiobook for that is, I would have to get a hold for, and I wanted an audiobook to have going for this vlog because I walk my dogs, and I like listening to audiobooks when I cook and stuff, and I'm planning on cooking some stuffed cabbage here in a minute, so I wanted to have something to listen to. So instead I've downloaded the audiobook from Hoopla of Killer Bridal Party, which is the second book in the Firefly Junction cozy mystery series. I gave the first book 2 stars. I did not like it very much. I will say I walked my dogs just now and I got 12% of the way into this audiobook. It's not very long at all. And I'm enjoying it much more than I enjoyed the first one. Partially, I think because I'm not having to read it. I don't think the writing is actually good. No offense if you like these books. I don't like the writing style very much at all. I feel it's very bland and a little flavorless. So this is probably going to be, I'm realizing this is going to be a vlog full of max 3-star books. But, we're doing what we can to get our TBR read, because if you didn't see my TBR video, I have 12 books to read this month. And I'm actually doing pretty well, but all things considered, it's a little crazy. So I'm excited to read this one. I really like the Firefly Junction series because it's about this woman who's a journalist in a small town in the Appalachian Mountains. I think of it as East Tennessee. Okay, so now I'm crouched down, so this is kind of an awkward angle, but this is gonna be more comfortable because my arm was going numb holding that up because that's how little upper body strength I have. So it's about this woman who, she and her sisters bought or inherited this land. I don't really know how it works, but they all live on the same tract of land, so they can walk to each other's houses. And one of them has a farm. Another one I think has a bakery. And then the main character bought this old bed and breakfast that she's fixing up. And there's a ghost living in the bed and breakfast, so there's a haunted element. And then she's also got a nemesis in the police department who's a detective or whatever, but he doesn't want journalists involved in what he does, and her main job is that she's a journalist for this small town newspaper. I don't really know. It's very cheesy, and I'm not sure if cozy mysteries as a whole are for me. I do want to try another series after I read this one if I don't love it. I want to try another series regardless because I want to see if I can find some that I really love, because I know some people love this genre. It's just not fully hooking me, I guess. Something about it just isn't working. But in this book, the premise is that there's a bridal party who one of the sisters is having the wedding, maybe at her farm. I don't know which sister is hosting the wedding. It's not at the bed and breakfast like I originally thought, but someone in the bridal party is going to kill off someone else or something. And we've already sort of established that the 2 bridesmaids don't like each other. So, I will let you know how things go as I keep reading this. It seems pretty self-explanatory what's going to happen, but I'm assuming they're doing that to be something else is going to happen. But I kind of think I know who is probably the killer, and no one's died yet. So we'll see. For the rest of the night, I'm going to hang out here and read. So that's what I'm going to go do right now, actually. Chat with you in a bit. morning, friends. It's actually almost noon. I've been up for a couple hours, but I haven't really been doing anything. It's Saturday. I'm home alone. I stayed up a little too late last night, had a little too much wine last night. I actually wound up watching, I didn't read really anymore after I talked to you last. I wound up watching 3 episodes of the new series, or the new season of Love is Blind. And I have some gripes, but I don't know if I really want to like put them in this video because obviously I don't want to spoil anything. So I'm not going to talk about any gripes from the actual couples. My biggest gripe is that like, I feel like the show follows the most classically attractive people rather than like anybody else. Like the first episode, I was so excited because it showcased like the first people we hear speak are these beautiful like plus size women. And then we see them in the pods like once and that's it. And so I find that really frustrating, and I'm sure there's other people who have more like elegant discourse on that. But anyways, that's sort of what I've like noticed. I have read almost all of, or listened to, I guess, of Killer Bridal Party. And I think what frustrates me about this series is that with some detective stories or like mystery thrillers, it bothers me when the like detective character jumps to so many conclusions, and I'm like, why would you even, and like acts irrationally based on that conclusion. But the main character in this book, her name is Sunny, and she's a journalist, but she keeps getting like looped into these murders that are happening around her in this town that she lives in, and she's trying to solve the crimes before this detective solves them. To get the best story, I don't know. I don't really love like journalist stories is something that I'm learning, but also like it's so blatantly obvious to me certain things that are happening, and she doesn't even think to jump to that conclusion. Like, I like the way she handles things because like even when she knows something, she's very good about keeping it to herself until she like figures out what's actually happening, which I appreciate because I feel like that's not always done in this type of story. But also I wish that like the author has basically told us what is going on, but the character doesn't get it. And I don't know if I'm just like jumping to conclusions now. And like if I were actually in this situation, I wouldn't jump to those conclusions because there would be more like pieces. And just because I'm reading a book, I know that the author is laying out the only pieces that are going to be considered. But it just like, to me, I'm like, I don't understand. We are in her head. Why can she not like think this is what's happening? I'm going to do some sleuthing to figure out if this is really what's happening. But regardless, I am enjoying it, listening to it more than I enjoyed reading it. So that is a plus. I have not read any more of the Foxhole Court. I think I'm about to sit down and do that. I want to get to about the 50% mark at least before DNFing it, because right now I really just want to stop reading it. But I also want to give it like a fair shake, and I kind of don't want to DNF a book when I'm vlogging reading it. I know people do that, and I know that like I should DNF more. DNF is self-care, etc. But as I've mentioned, I don't DNF because I want to know what happens. So if I'm not like interested in it after the 50% mark, I might just watch someone's spoiler vlog because I'm sure someone has one. So that is what I'm doing today. I've got my second cup of coffee. I think I'm about to heat up some lunch since it is noon. I have a bunch of random stuff left. I have leftover harissa, so I'm probably gonna put that on my last like slab of tofu from this meal that I made this week. I had like roasted sweet potatoes and red onions with it, but I ate all of those already, so I have like 1 piece of tofu left. So I'm probably gonna eat that. I might heat up some leftover mashed potatoes that I made. I just make the bagged mashed potatoes. I'm not that like fancy about it. And it's easy, it's cheap, so that's what I did. I've got a big tub of them in there, so I'm probably gonna heat up some of those. And then I did end up making like cabbage rolls last night. I might eat a cabbage roll if I'm still hungry. I used the recipe, I can show you, hold on. I used a recipe for stuffed cabbage that I got from this cookbook. It's, what is his name? Yodam Ottolenghi. I think he's Israeli, but he has a couple restaurants in London, I'm pretty sure. So he makes a lot of like Middle Eastern cuisine. So the recipe that I followed has like vermicelli and rice, and it's supposed to be like really common in like Turkish cuisine, maybe. I don't really know. So it's good. I ate it last night. It was very delicious. So I might heat up some of that if I'm still hungry. I don't know if I will be. I also made some vegan peanut butter cookies last night. Here they are. I didn't film any of this, by the way. I fully intended to, and then I was just like watching Criminal Minds. I was watching Love is Blind, and I looked at my clock again, and it was 2 in the morning, and I was like, well, I'm going to bed. So, yeah, I'm gonna heat up some food to eat. I'm gonna read. Do you see that balloon? Matt got me this really cheesy balloon for Valentine's Day, because he got it. There was some like roadside stand in a town near where we live, and he bought flowers and a balloon from them, and also cookies, which seems sketch, but I mean, it was fine. They were fine. They were delicious. I ate them. It was great. So, that's that. I'm gonna, what is happening? I'm gonna heat up some food, and I will chat with you when I've decided if I'm DNFing Foxhole Court. Here it is, boys. We got some mashed potatoes with mushroom chasseur, tofu with like this chipotle seasoning thing, some homemade harissa yogurt dip thing, and coffee. Very important part to every meal. My table's a mess, which is why I'm trying not to show you too much of it. But we also got some Foxhole Court here, and we're going to see where we can get. Hi, okay, it's been literally like not even 30 minutes, but I have decided I'm going to DNF the Foxhole Court. I just am not into it, and I looked up some like spoiler reviews because I was like, if something piques my interest, I will continue to read this book. And one of the reviews I saw said that they weren't sure why people were marketing this book as LGBT because there's no romance. And I was always under the impression that this was like a bully romance series. So, knowing that that doesn't come into play until later books, I'm not going to read later books. So I've decided I'm not going to read this one either. So I'm going to try to figure out something else to read for this vlog. It might end up not being a Kindle Unlimited book, which kind of sucks. It kind of ruins the whole point of me doing this whole thing. Maybe I'll get Annihilation and read that. I don't know. I'm disappointed, but also like, I'm not going to force myself to read something that I'm not liking. So it's one of my goals of the year is to stop to DNF things when I don't enjoy them. So that's what I'm going to do with this. Unfortunately, I made it to 34%. And frankly, it was not for me. We had like a big reveal, and it just led me to understand more that I understand nothing about what's happening in this book. Also, sorry if you can hear my dishwasher in the background. It just occurred to me that I turned that on. So if it sounds like there's like water running, it's my dishwasher. So I will catch up with you when I figured out what I'm going to read. Hello. Oof. Okay. So I did change. I might film another video today. I just filmed my reading journal for March. It did not go the way I wanted it to. And so, I mean, like that video or watch that video if you want to. It should be the video after this one. If things go well and I edit this one today, which I'm planning on doing so it can go up tomorrow. But I wanted to let you know that I finished The Killer Bridal Party while I was doing that. I'm going to give it 3 stars. I thought it was fine. Again, nothing to write home about, but I do think that some of the elements were better incorporated in this book than they were in the first one. The first one I really didn't like. I think I've mentioned that about a dozen times. I called the like killer from a mile away. So I definitely don't think it was like super mysterious, but I also don't think it was supposed to be. I think it's supposed to just be fun. And you know, it wasn't bad. It was fun. I didn't hate reading it. I didn't dislike reading it. I thought it was fine, especially to listen to. So again, I think I am going to continue the series via audio, but I don't think I'm going to be reading another one of them physically. I have stuck with my decision to DNF Foxhole Court, and I think I'm going to move away from making this Kindle Unlimited reading vlog because Killer Bridal Party isn't even available for Kindle Unlimited. It was only the first book in that series. So I think I'm going to pick up Gnomon by Nick Harkaway. I'm not going to finish it today because it's like 650 pages, but that's the next thing on my TBR. I also have an audiobook of The City in the Middle of the Night by Charlie Jane Anders. Both of these are sci-fis, actually. They're both dystopians. City in the Middle of the Night, I think it sounds like it's set on a different planet, and so there's like day planet where it's entirely daytime and it's warm, and then there's night planet, or like the night side of the planet where it's entirely dark all the time and it's freezing cold. And there's like weird creatures. I don't really know that much about that one, but it starts off at like a boarding school for girls, and it's like a dystopian world. Which is, you know, fine. I'm thinking it's kind of weird. If I don't finish that one ever, I don't think I'll care. Like, but since I have it via audio, I'll probably continue to listen to it just because I like to have an audiobook going. And then Gnomon, I'm just pronouncing it like that. I don't know if that's actually how it's pronounced, but it's about this futuristic society where we no longer have like jury trials. And so instead, when people are victims of crimes, we go inside of their brains and it's called the Witness Program. And so there's like this special class of detectives that gets to like, somehow your memories get transported to them, and so they get to see what you've seen and experience what you experience and figure out what happened with these crimes, or what's going on. And there's obviously dissenters to this because it's a huge invasion of privacy, but it's really interesting. I'm not very far into that one. I started it the other day, but I'm enjoying it so far. And we're following one of the people who is like the witness, and so her job is to go inside of people's brains and like figure out what's happening. And the premise of the start of the book is that someone has died in custody, and it's the first time that someone's died in police custody since this new system took over. So she's trying to figure out why this has happened. So that's that. I'll update you on how I'm enjoying things later on today, but I've decided to take like a step back from stressing myself out about reading, because I realized I'm also doing, I think I mentioned this, I'm doing a separate like reading blog for something else that I'm reading an entire series for. And I have read 19 books in February so far, and it is February 19th, which is a lot. Like some of them, sure, I read one short story and one novella, and that's like kind of towards this. And most of the books are like shorter books, but they're not all that short, and I'm just really impressed with myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to reading, and I'll update you when I update you. Hey y'all. As predicted, I did not end up finishing anything else, so I think I'm just gonna cut the vlog off here. Sorry this is kind of a boring one, because I DNF'd one book, only finished one book, and then like kind of talked about 2 other books that I'm starting. But if you are interested in hearing my thoughts on those 2 other books that I haven't quite gotten to, make sure to subscribe to my channel, because I will be talking about them in my wrap up. But if you did make it to this point in the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment down below what your favorite thing that you read last weekend was. And subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos from me, because I do post twice a week. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye! Marvel wants to say goodbye too. Say goodbye, Marvel. Say goodbye. I think Murphy wants to say goodbye too. Hold on. Murphy! Oh, there you are. Do you want to say goodbye to the people? Yeah, you want to say goodbye. Oh, goodbye.